right, Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And it looks like there's doing the teeny little bailout, you know. But Xi has said that he wants to move back to socialism and communism, or communism. He doesn't have a desire. Let's see. That's what it seems to be happening at the moment. He said this over the last few weeks, and it seems to be really sinking in now. I think that's what's really happening. But anyway, that's why they don't want to bail anything out. So anyway, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, if I haven't said that before. All right, let's take a look at it, see what's going on. There's natural gas, but let's get over to the Swiss against the dollar to see what that's doing this morning. Let's see, there's the mouse. I was trying to figure out which mouse it is. There it is. There we go. Now we're good with the mice. These mices, two pieces. Okay, right there. And let's put the Swiss up like so, right there. You see Swiss is it's coming right back down to the channel part there again, I guess. And we'll take a look at it over here on Chicago J4X, one of the above. I use both of these so much that I get confused between them at times. There we are. And so you can see on J4X, same situation. The Swiss is moving down, which means the dollar is moving down in value. And that's how that works. So you can see a little red there, same thing here. See that pressure's on. Now the weekly, weekly's been in the buy since there, and it's got that thing going on. And how could it not with the way the action has been? It's been pretty exciting, this stuff that we've been watching. So let's check our chat line, see if anybody's in the house. Let's see, here we go. Put the volume up so we can hear it, just to make sure. And I see, oh good, Passion's doing his Fibonacci thing. That's a good thing to tune into. Fibonacci is always a really good tool, very solid. Can't go wrong by looking at Fibonacci. You can see the markets function by it all the time. And I can say this about Fibonacci. Fibonacci has been so much more accurate or consistent since quantitative easing. So I would assume that what that means is that the Federal Reserve is also using Fibonacci now. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I was interpreting it in my head too throughout the years. The Fed and Fibonacci, we could actually call it that today. That could be literally the webinar today, is the Fed and Fibonacci. I can't tell you how many times the markets move perfectly. And we know that the major player in this whole market is the Federal Reserve. So, I've never seen any of the technical analysis, minus mine, of course, that has worked better. In other words, technical analysis is so much more accurate now compared to what it was before quantitative easing. And so that tells you right off, they've been reading the books, they've been hearing the stories, on the trading desk, and so they're following these rules, and they're doing that. They're doing the Fibonacci, and they're doing the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, and they're doing all the things that everybody talks about. The retracements of the Fibonacci, and in between, you can Fibonacci inside the Fibonacci. It's always fascinating to do that. When you Fibonacci inside the Fibonacci, you see that it actually. And what do I mean by that? Let me put up. I think we finished the simple look of the Swiss. 2 days in a sell here now, and moving back down to this line. So let's just go right back over to. I think we have Fibonacci up on cable. Is it on cable? Let's take a look and see. Yeah, that's what it is. We have it right there. So let me just tell you what I mean by inside of it. So you make that bigger. Okay, maybe that's a little bit bigger to be able to see, right? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what I mean by that is you Fibonacci in between, say, this blue line right there to the yellow line, and you'll see if you're following in a very short term. This is a daily. Okay. Now imagine when you're dealing with an intraday. I can show you examples of the intraday being so much more articulate. I guess that's a good word for it. In other words, it participates very well. So in other words, imagine this being like an intraday chart. and you Fibonacci inside this line from there, and you widen it out big enough so you can see it, and you will find that the Fibonacci sequence is being honored or respected inside the lines. And you can see very clearly here where it had its problem getting through the 50 percentile and just refused to get through it at that point. And you can see here when it finally did, this is a daily chart, it ran to this 0.618, and so and then stopped. And so you can see that the level of accuracy of Fibonacci has never been greater. It's never been greater. I remember days, in the 70s and the 80s where, it was okay. It had good characteristics. W.D. Gann, he brought Fibonacci to the commodities, and it was a great tool. Morning, Douglas. How you doing? But now, I mean, the level of accuracy of it, and there's algorithms that have been written to read the Fibonacci, retain the Fibonacci during the trading day, and adjust to the Fibonacci, and then go for extensions. There's things called extensions in Fibonacci and so forth, and go through that, and then reset the center point, reset the range, and go after that. And you can see that type of trading that actually does occur. So anyway, I thought it's well worth bringing up because Passion is very involved in it. I have watched a couple of Passion's webinars on it. Very good work. It's well worth for anybody to pay attention to the Fibonacci sequence, especially in this era. All right, now we're back to the whole set. Let's take a look at well, we might as well look at the cable while we got it up there, and then we can jump over to the euro. Back to the euro. We'll go that way. So there's the cable. You see it is moving down against the dollar, so it's losing money against the dollar. Yeah, but the Swiss is making money. So I always thought, not always. I thought this last couple of weeks, I've been saying it in our webinars, I really believe that the Swiss was getting beat up because of China, solely because I think they had money parked there. And I think that's why gold got beat up, and I think a lot of stuff got beat up because they were taking their money and buying U.S. treasuries. In other words, the Chinese are, they may be socialist, they may be communists, however you want to describe them, communist, socialist, whatever. But in the end result is they want to preserve their winnings. In other words, they want to keep that money that they have convinced the world to put there. So what they want to do is they want to preserve it. It's a hard. No foreigner can get their money out of that country. Once it's in there, it's there. It's like we used to call it on the trading floor. We used to refer to it as the cockroach hotel. You can get in, but you can't get out, and that's pretty much the way China is. You can get in with no problem. Bring your money, bring your products, bring your inventions, but when it's time to leave, only take your coat and your hat and go. Forget about what you brought with you. And that's pretty much the way it is. So I really thought that the reason why we saw that weakness in the Swiss was specifically that reason. And I remember mentioning it in the webinar, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that Swiss is weak now because of Evergrande or Evergrande, or however they want to say it, or call it, or whatever name they want to give it. And now they're doing a domestic bailout. So they are bailing out the debt. They're going to pay. They're going to pay the. They're not totally bailing it out, but they're going to pay bondholders domestically on Thursday. Now, foreign investors, go fish. That's what that comes down to. Go fish. So that's how we'll see that play itself out also at the same time. All right, now we will looking at the cable. Let's see, where's it at? Right up there. You see, the weekly is trying to turn up, but it has dropped. See that? It's a minus now. It's minus 0.000118. It was 122 a few seconds ago. So it's now it's 114. So it's lifting up a little bit, but overall it's dropped. It was well plus for a while. For the last 24 hours, it was trying to battle its way back into the weekly buy. Let's drift over to the euro now and see what the euro is up to. Oh, you can see also on J4X, look at this. White line is buried down at the bottom. Buried. That pressure is on. Alright, now we'll look at the dollar, or the euro against the dollar. Right there. And that looks like it, what is it doing? It's up or down? I can't tell. Down. Alright, so that also was trying to pierce through the weekly. We'll take a look at that, but you can see at least this is curving and moving back up again, whereas the cable is flatlined. And let's see what it looks like there. Yeah, so see, this is still holding up very cleanly, and the daily is trying. We are now at 0.0. Oh, and there it goes, minus 0.00001. So it's just it's both are failing. Now you can see here, it doesn't look like we were that up to begin with. I mean, that's really tight to begin with. So I'm even surprised that it even shows that. You know, it's not really going anywhere. I guess, you know, we got also traders. We've got the Fed going to have its 2:30 news conference. This is what they wanted from Jackson Hole last month, so we're finally getting it now, and it's been what everybody's been waiting for since June. They want to hear Professor or the chairman, Mr. Powell from the Federal Reserve, what he's thinking, how inflation is acting, what they're going to do. The speculation is he's going to talk about tapering out in 23 now instead of 22. That's what we're hearing. We'll see what he says in the news conference, but pretty much that is the story. That's the story. Yes, indeed. All right. So from here, from the euro against the dollar, I don't see anything else besides that weekly signal right there, trying to climb back into buying. I was hoping that maybe this time, like the way the Swiss did. Remember, the Swiss jumped way out of its range. We can just give you that quick little picture again of it right there. See, it jumped way across that. It started respecting this channel here that it started to develop for the last couple months, and then it jumped through that, and that's what said to me, you know, first of all, it didn't take much to come up with the idea that the Swiss was probably being sold by the Chinese, solely because they probably, you know, they have two places they can park equity that they probably feel very comfortable at. They probably feel very, well, I don't know how they feel about it when it comes to parking in America, but they can be comfortable that they're going to get their equity back. So they feel comfortable they're going to get their equity back from Switzerland and from the U.S. But we saw where they were buying U.S. bonds over the last 3.5, 4 weeks. So, and almost the last month and a half, they've been buying U.S. bonds, not selling them. So they knew that there were problems coming down the road. They knew that the Evergrande was not going to be bailed out. You know, they front-run the whole thing, you know, the whole bit. They knew the whole story. And that's how they play their games over there. And that's all right. I mean, that's just what it is. You know, I mean, as traders, we have to work around that. You know, we can't complain about it. We just do it. We deal with it. You know, it's the market. That's what the market is, be it good or bad or insider or what. It's just the way it is. So here you see the Swiss coming down, back banging off of that channel, whereas, where's that mouse at again? Right there. Whereas the euro, you know, did not come down and take out this here, the bottom end of the range, and obviously it's not doing anything to get towards the top of the range except for this strength you see right there, which is now 0.001. Now it's just dropped to 0. So there it is again. Now it's -1. So you know, that's what said to me. They're not parking their money per se in Europe. They're parking it in Switzerland. That's how I read it. Okay. And so you can see the activity of the two don't exactly match up right now, and that's the answer to it all. All right, from there, what we'll do is, we might call this webinar even Swiss too. Might be a good idea. So from there, we go over to the dollar Turkish lira, and you can see it couldn't get into the daily sell yesterday. It dropped down a little bit, nothing major, but you can see the weekly is still flirting with the weakness there. Let's see what it looks like over on J4X. Right there. But we get it? No, that's yen. There. So there it is right there. It's holding up. It's pushing in that upwardly direction, which means the dollar is stronger against it. Who knows what settlements are going to have to be. We are in September. We're going towards the last quarter. We're not there yet, but we're getting very close. October, November, December is the last quarter. And we have no idea what the settlements will be for the end of the year because of the tax situation. So right now it just looks like it's may make... If this wasn't dipping down, this weekly, I'd be saying, oh yeah, start looking for the little yellow dots again right up in there. But due to the fact that it is dipping down, I have to believe that this could, if it doesn't bounce, well, I don't think we're going after those yellow dots. I don't know, we'll see. If we stay in daily buys and this thing survives the weekly, then we may be seeing some very negative action for the poor Turkish lira. And then looking at it in a more, how did Oz say it yesterday? About the more accuracy or the best consistency or something of that nature. I think that's a good way of looking at it. You can see it here. It's also flirting with the weekly. So we widen this. Widen that. Like that. There we are. So you can see here it's doing the same thing. It's playing with the zero line on the weekly. But the daily is holding up pretty well. And sometimes you got to watch that. I mean, always you got to watch that daily. Dailies can lead to weeklies, and if this is, an adjustment, and money ran away from there, this could be the beginning of some very negative action for the euro. I'm sorry, the euro Turkish lira, that is. All right, so that is where we are with the first 4 pairs trades that we look at. Now we drift over to, let's see, Canadian, right there. So Canadian, what did it do? It stayed in the daily buy, but it's flirting with the weekly sell. That's what it is. And we've been in a weekly sell for a while. You can see that on line 20. We're 15 weeks in a weekly sell in this product. No, I'm sorry, weekly buy in this product. We've been in a weekly buy for 15 weeks. So it doesn't surprise me that this thing is trying to find a way to correct. I mean, it's hit this top part of the channel twice now, here and there, and hasn't been able to climb through it. So you have to wonder if it's going to start heading for the downside of it. A weak dollar against the Canadian wouldn't be that big a surprise. We got the elections going on up there. I hate when I see headlines like, "Can't we vote just nobody?" It's like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, everybody knows what Trudeau is, so you know that you want to vote against Trudeau. He's only hurt the economy. So why complain about the rest? Just put vote. Put articles out there that just says just vote for anybody but Trudeau. That's all. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. All right. So there's the Canadian, and because the Canadian is showing just a little strength by going down against the dollar, we assume that we're seeing a firmer gold and silver and a firmer oil. So let's go take a look at them and see what they're up to. There's hogs. Oh, no, that's natural gas. Let's see. So let's take a look at crude. Crude is lifting up, so that makes sense. And gold is unchanged, but trying to lift it. No, it's. How did I put a green line in there? That makes no sense whatsoever. It's just double check that. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's not even remotely acting like it's trying to take off. Just here, the weekly is still trying to show some strength. And just for fun, we'll do a quick one at silver, and then we'll jump back over to the other currencies. That's what it was. It must have been silver. My head must have been not paying attention. So silver is trying to get into the daily buy today. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, we're going to leave that there, and we're going to jump back over to the currencies. We'll go take a look at South African Rand. Let's see, right there. So there's South African Rand. It's a little bit lower from yesterday, but not really moving down much. But the line is, see that? The line is moving down. So let's see what it looks like over in J4X. Right. I know it's around here somewhere. There it is. You can see it's moving down also on that. On J4X, you can see the line is curving here. So just as we're curving, it's curving, we're all curving. And you can see the weekly has been in that consistent sell since up in here. We've been in daily sell for a long while until right there. So I guess we should, I thought we put that line in there yesterday. Jeez. If I don't remember to save this thing, it doesn't stay. I hate that. Save. Let's get deep and go save as. There. So this might be the top, like this was right here, especially being in a weekly sell, and it may roll over again. And that would indicate, you know, strength in silver and oil and so forth and gold, which blow my mind. Every day I'm confused why we can't see these products climb higher, except for one nanny state Federal Reserve that chooses not to allow it to climb. That's what it comes down to. Look how deep they've got the weekly now. I mean, they're knocking that weekly down deep, 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 deep. All right, now from there we go to the ruble, which closed in a daily buy again last night, but is lower. It was lower last night too, and is lower again today, but it's still in the daily buy. But what saves us traders from not being wrong about it all? We're in the weekly sells since up in here, and so you can't get long. All you can do is cover your short. When it went into this, you cover your short so you don't lose that move, and now you're basically flat where it started from. And if this thing closes in a sell, then you get back into the short in that range and start to ride this puppy hard on the downside. All right, now from there we jump over to the Japanese yen, which is trying to climb today, but it's trapped because, you know, we're in a weekly buy, and at the same time it's below the line. Here, you know, we're in a sell, so any sells would be more of an options position or binary, not the delta, the hard delta, because you don't want to get stopped out. So in other words, it's a neutral, really, and unless you're trading binaries or options. So there's the yen, and yen went into that weekly buy. Why is that pink? The yen went into the weekly buy last week, and you know, and now it's trying to get back into the sell that had been in for months, since back in late July, off of one of those big long buys. The buy there, and, you know, found a way to wind its way up. All right, from the yen we drive over to the Mexican peso. There. Peso's right there. There we are. and it's moving down against the dollar, which is a a norm, I guess you could say. The product has been pretty sturdy. We had this pop, we went into the buy right here again, and we're in a weekly buy too, so that was safe. You could actually be long. It was a winner chicken dinner for a couple days there, and today you can see, and this week it's starting to back off underneath again. Let's put that in there. How did we not get that in there? So, oh no, like so, and so it's doing its flirtation thing with the sell there, with no problem. There we are. Let's save that. 47, how you doing? Look at the DAX. Let's go check out the DAX. Let's see, where's that at? Oh, I know where it's at. Right, open sesame. Right there. The ETF. We have the ETF, it's the DAX, right? Is that what that is? Is it EWZ? Let's see price wise. We'll have to look that up. Let's look it up and see, because I know we do get the DAX. So let's do that. And at the same time, I want to save some of this stuff too. Now that's tags. So we'll save tags. We do that. Save tags. Let's save Russell. Russell's confusing in its own right. And you can see the weekly climbing, and it's trying to be firm in here today. You see that, but it doesn't seem to want to lift this up any. Daily doesn't seem to be. I would imagine all the products are going to have their issues today until after the Fed speaks. I think that's how that's really going to play out. So people will just, at the beginning of the day, they're going to be starting to adjust. Let's see, is that climbing through yet? Not yet. It's still zero. So I think that's how that's going to play out. I think that the markets will be active at the very beginning of the New York, and then it'll just die down, and everybody will be standing there going, okay, I'm not going to do a thing until Powell, says what he wants to do. I think that's how that's going to play out in the end. Now let's see what the let me look at it over here. What the DAX looks like. DAX ETF. DAX ETF. Let's see. DAX ETF symbol, maybe? Let's see. I see a bunch of them here now. Okay. Gets better and better as time goes on. Just show me the symbol again. DAX, DAX. Okay, good. Let's put that in there. Right there. Let me do this and get rid of that. No, let's just do this. Format. Instrument. DAX. DA. Right there. DAX. DA. DAX. There we go. Let's widen this. So you can see it. So it's matching somewhat up to the other product, whatever that was, EWZ. You can see it went into the daily buy there for a couple of days there, and then went into the sell-off of this. It has not come back. It's been in a sell ever since. Remember, this is the ETF that only trades like 6 hours a day, so 7 hours a day. So it's not. And you can see it been in a weekly sell from here, just the way the Dow was too. The Dow is the same way. Let me just show you that too. Pink and bar. and then it went into the weekly buy here. Let me just move this one over. Just change the color on it. So it went into the weekly buy off of this week right here, in here. And it kind of moseyed its way up, and then it went into the sell off of the close there. 2 days of some type of strength, but it didn't really last. We were in the daily sell from here, and sure enough, it gave it to us. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And you can see this morning, it's not. Let's see if it's double check the if it's updating. Yeah, it's pre-market, so it's just not updating at the moment. So that's how the DAX is, and I'd imagine the DAX is firmer. Aren't the U.S. stocks firmer too? Let me just take a look. Let me show you this also at the same time. Oh, let's do this. Yeah, so there, yeah, the S&Ps are up 26. This is live. So you can see, yeah, S&Ps are up 26. The NQ, this is a weekly thing like that. Let's just get rid of that. Let's see, the NQs right there are up 66, and you can see the this is the Dow. Let's widen that a little bit for you. And so the Dow is up 202 points. So they're buying this stuff. They're reaching for it. They want to be flat for the for Mr. Powell. I imagine that's what they want to be. Is flat. Oh, I didn't move. Oh, darn it. Here, let me just do that again for you. Okay, let me just show you DAX again. Right there. So there's DAX. So there's the buy this week. And the settlement of it there. And you can see it was pressured up from that buy. And then you can see it went into the weekly sell 3 weeks ago. So this is the third week now. And so, and it's been in a daily sell back there too. So it has not been anything but pressure on the downside. Let's see, Forex is the way. Yeah, you know, without a doubt, the Forex market is probably the most liquid, most consistent. You know, it really is. And then let me just show you the stock indices again. Find that page again. There it is right there. So there's the Dow Jones, you can see. Now it's an intraday. There's 217 now. It was 202, now it's 217. So they're reaching up and buying this thing because obviously they don't want to be short coming into, and also Grande, you know, Evergrande or Grande, however they want to say it, has started to pay domestic. Now they feel like it's a soft. How do they say it? I saw somebody say it's the soft start to a bailout. That's how they said it. The soft start of the bailout. And you can see there, NQs now are 72. They were 66 when I was blocking the screen accidentally, and then 26 on S&Ps, and now they are 29. So you know they're buying this stuff. Yeah, it moved exactly like the Dow. Matter of fact, the Dow is 3 weeks. Let's see. Let me shift screens for you, and I'll show you what the daily Dow looks like. Where's that? Right there. It's been in itself for 3 full weeks. This is the 4th week in itself, right there. You can see it's trying. They're giving a volatility signal. You know, wouldn't surprise me. The shorts cover. You know, it stays up, and then maybe there'll be a little bit more selling tomorrow. They try to sell it down a second time, and it fails. Powell, whatever Powell says today, I don't know. You know, I mean, Powell could say something that would drive the market up like, you know, 700-800 points too. I mean, he has that ability. They have that ability. Hey, he could say it, and if that's what he wants, they'll start buying it, and they'll have no idea that it's the Fed, or we have an idea about it, but the general public, you know, have no idea that the Fed is really not only saying that it should go up, but they're also helping it go up by buying it. And that's how that whole marketplace works anymore. It's weird but true, you know. I myself, I just shake my head at it all. I don't think there's any other way of looking at it, but crazy. Really, just crazy. But anyway, that's the way it goes. All right, so where did we leave off? We left off Mexican peso. We're done the pairs trades now. And so we go to the metals complex. Unless anybody wants to see anything, please jump out. We'll take a look. Just like, you know, who was asking for the DAX? That was 47. So, you know, we're glad to stop what we're doing and look. You know, we all learn from that. At least I do. Let's take a look at leave off where we left off silver. Silver seems to be trying to show some life in it, much more than gold is. Which, boy, there's gold bugs that would be saying, "Yeah, baby." Just give that a refresh. Yeah, just kind of just hanging out there now, isn't it? It's just not really getting going. Matter of fact, it's down for the day. That must be some type of weird arbitrage going. Not weird, but it's an arbitrage. Obviously, someone's buying silver, selling gold. Maybe it's silver's time now. Wouldn't it be nice if silver could get into that? Where's silver at again? Let's go back to that. Is it weekly? Yeah, the weekly's on the edge. Wouldn't it be nice if it got into a weekly buy? We've been in a weekly sell on that product for, that's line 9. Yeah, 9. We've been in a weekly sell for almost 20 weeks now. It has a 19 on there now. Wouldn't it be nice if it found a way to get into a weekly buy and we got up, like, you know, 3 weeks of up? That would help out some of these gold bugs, silver bugs, you know. It's like they just shake their heads like, wow, you know, the world is all over the place and no one cares about metal. Speaking of which, let's take a look at copper and platinum, but I also was thinking about Bitcoin. Maybe Bitcoin is showing some life in it today too. Really surprised how much it fell down. I want to say this about that. I think the same thing that was hurting the Swiss was hurting Bitcoin. I think money was coming out of it. I mean, legitimate sellers, not shorts, sellers. And so that could be it. I think there was some real necessity for capital. You know, you can only borrow so much. You can only hold off payments so long. But sooner or later, to make things work right, you have to go out and do that. You have to liquidate something so you can pay people money that you owe. Now look at that. That's platinum today. Wow. Platinum is up like, you know, 40 some odd dollars. $33. It's making a nice little juiced push. Look at that. And the weekly is climbing up too. How about that? We have, that thing's even worse than silver. 20 weeks. You can see it right above it. Line 7. 20 weeks in a sell. Maybe it's time for the dogs to do some earning, you know. And then from there we go take a look at copper. Copper was jacking too last I saw. Where's copper? Right there. This is December copper. You know, it's trying. Let's give it a refresh. Yeah, looking hot, looking heavy. It's trying to climb into the weekly. Maybe what they'll do is they'll sell gold and they'll buy all the other products. Maybe we'll see that for a little while. That would be somewhat helpful, I think. I think there's a lot of trapped longs, and they could use the help. The Fed should treat them nice and let them get out of some of their positions. Then they can kill it again as usual. All right, from there, let's see. So that's copper. Oh yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin. The futures contract in September. Climbing into the daily buy. There you go. Unfortunately, the weekly has buried itself underneath the zero line. But maybe with some strength in this, they can get it to go. You know, it went into the weekly sell 2 weeks ago, failed here, getting into a weekly buy, that puked, you know, this week, so it's fine. Let's see if they can get the September contract into the buy. Let's see, 47 is saying, let's see, what is it? Let's see. I wonder, did the stock indices all drop because of, oh, of course, because they didn't know what the contagion would be. Look, when you have $300 billion worth of debt, and you tell the world you're not going to pay anything, and you're not interested in bailing, and you're not interested in a bailout. When you have things like that happen, yeah, it puts pressure across the board. Everybody's waiting to see who's going to get knocked out of business. That's how that works. So, yeah, Grande, that's why I've been saying in my webinars for 3 weeks, the markets are going to back off. Why we were trading puts on the downside. I mean, you know, Dow Jones was in weekly sell. S&P weekly sell. You know, daily sells for weeks upon weeks. I think. Let's see, what do we have here? Right there. S&P was in a daily sell for 10 days. It's been in a sell for 10 days. The Dow is something like 13 days. Now the Nasdaq has only been in a daily sell for 3 days. It's gone in and out a few times. There's the, there it is there. It went into a daily sell here on the Nasdaq on the 9th, and then went into a buy one day, and then went back into a sell the next day, and then they crushed it the next day after that. So, yeah, I mean the pressure is there because it's Grande, and now CNBC and Bloomberg have been pretending that it's other issues plus that possibly just recently. They won't even talk. For weeks I was talking here on the webinar that they won't even talk about the problem. They wouldn't even put it in their headlines. So without a doubt, it was, in my mind, it was. I might be wrong. It might be just my math is so good that, you know, I was able to make that story up. But as far as I'm concerned, that's what the math has been telling me, is that that's the issue. At least in my head. And why wouldn't it be? I mean, the logic says it should be. But then logic doesn't exactly fit into the world markets anymore when it comes to trying to decide. I wonder if there's a headline out. Brand new MIT survey confirms Tesla's autopilot as unsafe. Shall we take a look at Tesla traders just for the sake of it? I just saw that headline jump across. That could be fun, you know. Let's see. Where's that at? Oh, right there. Oh, did I do what I needed to do? No, let me just double check this before I close this. I just want to see if tags done anything. Tags has not, but let's just give it a reset, readjustment there. There we go. Okay. So let's do that. Let me send that. There we go. And Q's. Okay, so let's jump up over to and see what Mr. and Mrs. Tesla is doing. That could be fun. Let's close that. Let's open that. Where's Tesla? Right there. And I believe that's Tesla, yeah. So the stock headline doesn't seem to be hurting it any. It seems to be holding it up. You know, it's just the way it always works. You know, you think that a headline can give you a direction to trade in, but in the end result is that it doesn't work that way all the time, which is amazing, you know. You know, they come out with a study that says, you know, remote controlled cars are not functioning the way they're supposed to, or self-propelling cars, or however they want to describe it. And the next thing you know is it still goes up. Maybe there's more shorts in it they need to cover. I don't know. It could be that's just that, you know. And it does. Let's see, yeah. Short. There we go. And so there's the Tesla. And Tesla is, let's see, it closed yesterday at 739. We'll round the numbers out. And today it's trading at 743, almost 744. So that's up like $4 or $5. You can see we've been in a daily buy for a bunch of days, and we've been in a weekly buy for a bunch of weeks. Where's the line at? There it is. We've been in a weekly buy in this product since back in June. And the product was trading in the $600 area. And now where's it trading? $750, basically $744. So it's going up almost $150 since it went into the weekly buy. That's pretty cool. Just saw the headline. I thought, oh, let's go check it out. What the heck? What the heck? All right. What else can we look at here, traders? Where do we go from here? Let me think what we normally do. So we just looked at all the metals. Let's take a look at natural gas and crude oil. So there is crude oil. Here it comes. And crude is showing its strength that we showed earlier because we were looking Canadian. And then let's take a look at natural gas. Nat gas is kind of quiet. Let's refresh that right there. Kind of quiet, and it's been selling down for like 6 days now. And we've been in the sell since here, but we're in that weekly buy, so it's not something you want to play the short unless you're doing options or binaries. And the weekly looks awful strong. So it's an October contract. We may be coming up to the expiration of this thing. So I think I'll start looking at like November soon, see when the expiration is on this. I would imagine since it's a gas line, you know, we can trust it all the way up to the end of September. And then from there, worry about changing the contract. But just a curiosity why it's been in a sell. It's had a great run. I mean, we've been in a weekly buy just recently from the 400 area, and it went to 550. Went $1.50 up. It's a lot in 3 weeks, you know, or 4 weeks. Was that 4 weeks? That's a lot. That is a lot. 3.5 weeks it went up like that. $1.50. What's that, like a 33% move, you know? Wow. All right, so that's the two energies we follow. We've looked at all the metals. If anybody missed any, we can always put it back up there if you ask. And from there, we go over to the stock indices. So we just looked at Nasdaq right there, and you can see the weekly was flirting. Let's see if we can widen this, like so. There we are. You see here, we can actually get rid of like that little circly thing because it's not minus anymore, it's plus again. And you can see the daily is trying to climb. Let's give it a refresh again, see if we got a green dot even building. Nope, not yet. So let's take a look at the S&P 500. That came in a sell on Friday, so it caught the whole move on the downside. You can see also the daily is trying, it's been in a daily sell since here anyway. And you can see we are trying right there to climb again. So maybe Mr. Powell will drive this thing up today. You know, I mean, it's not in the buy yet. Normally it gives us a little better heads up. So now here you see, you know, the Dow Jones has been in a sell for 3 full weeks. This is the 4th week, and we've been in a daily sell since back here. And for this whole move, we've been in a daily sell. So again, I started screaming about Evergrande up in here, saying it's hurting the markets. So, and that's the way it normally works, traders. Is that fudge? I think I see some poison ivy. I got. Darn it! I hate when I catch the poison ivy. So, I guess the best thing we can do is just try to not get in the way. Don't disrupt your position with Powell speaking today. That's the best warning I can give all of you. Try to stand to the side until he gets done. If you're going to do anything, do it in binaries and options. Because, you know, you won't get stopped out. How many times the trader said, oh my God, I had the right position on, but I didn't have the margin, and I got stopped out, and then it went my way, and I can't believe it. I got to figure this out. You know, and that's pretty much the whole story of it all. So when you're using the right tool, you don't get in those problems. All right, let's see. From there, would you like to look at the Fibonacci? I just thought of something. Would you like to look at the Fibonacci of the Dow and see if there's any logic to the bounce? We could do that. Anybody care to see the Fibonacci on the bounce? I mean, I'm going to push Passion's work. Let's warm you up to it, you know. Douglas says, who is buying Evergrande Doc? You mean bailing it out? Do you mean bailing it out or just in general buying it? Well, it's the big domestic. It's their #1 land corporation, I guess you could say. You know, so it's domestic, big time. And then, you know, all these China lovers across the world that are managers in general. Yeah, it's you know, it's the funds. You know, they're, you know, I don't even know what the yield was before it went belly up, but I'm sure the yield was very enticing. It's a pyramid, so you know, they brought the money in, paid a little bit out. Remember, I was saying this 2 days ago. The way the companies are set up in China, when you buy stock in them, you're not buying stock in the Chinese company itself. You're buying a shell company that is supposed to control assets of the company in China. So you're really not ending up with any real assets. You're buying a shell company. That's something that there's been a lot of screaming and yelling about in Congress. The Republicans keep on saying you cannot, the Securities Exchange Commission cannot be supporting this pyramid where they allow them to buy shell companies of companies that they want to be invested in that have no assets and then pretend that they own assets. And that they are saying that the chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission should not condone that. But they are not really getting too far, you know, because I don't know, whatever reason. But the end result is they're not convincing anybody to stop it. So when you buy a Chinese stock, you're buying a shell company that has the name of the Chinese stock, that claims that it has some assets of it. Nowhere near the assets of the company itself. You know, just, you know, a couple thousand shares probably, or a million shares. And there might be like 2 billion shares outstanding, and you're buying a shell company that has the name of the company you want to be invested in. So everybody else jumps in and they buy it too. So it's kind of like an index more. You know, you're kind of buying an index of the stock. So it's like a one stock index. It's kind of weird, but it is. That's the way it's acting. So, all right. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, why don't we take a look at where's it at? There's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's take a look at the Fibonacci of it. From there to the low. See what it's doing. So it's basically gone, it hit yesterday the 0.38, stopped, and fell back down. And now it's sitting at the the 0.23, I guess it would be. And so it's sitting at the 0.23, that's what that blue line is. And I guess if Powell says something really, really nice, it'll take it to the 50 percentile, which is, let's see what that is. What's that, like 34,400, and right now we're trading just underneath 34,000 at 980 something. So we could have a 400 point more move. Let's see, how much is it up now? Let's take a look and see again. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average right now, I think, is up 200 points. It's up 187. We could be up 600 points today in the Dow Jones. You know, Mr. Powell might say something that drives the market, you know, in that direction, and that would not surprise me. That would be the norm, you know. That would be the norm. So, does that make all sense to you, or at least close to making some sense? And I think we looked at all. Did we look at all 3 stock indices, or did I just run right to the? Oh yeah, we looked at the NQs, and the S&P's still having a problem getting their weekly up. Notice that? So this might that a lot of times I've noticed over the decades that the S&P is usually the truth in the end. So in other words, if the weekly's not really getting going after a sell-off, now you can see the Dow Jones in this case here led the market down. Let's go back to the Dow Jones. It went into the weekly sell up in here, and it let it down. That's no problem. Okay, but the fact that the S&P is not doing that good a job of climbing up, we'll see. That could be something. All logic in my head says yes, he should be tapering and he should be talking about it. But he wants his job, and his job is up in January. And so he needs to plow more money into the marketplace so that the liberals in the House and Senate and everywhere say, yeah, give the guy a job again. Let him have another 4 years or 6 years or whatever it is. And so I think that's what the problem is. He's really trapped. He's probably saying to himself, you believe it? My job's up and I should be tapering and I can't. That's probably got to be some of the greatest irony to deal with. It has to be. Really, the frustration level has to be enormous. But yeah, I would think that the natural tendency would be is to taper. Just a little bit, do something. Everybody's going to be listening for his inflation statement. That's the big thing that's going to be kicking out. So it's going to be hot and heavy. It's going to be really tangled. That's the only way I can describe it, is tangled up. He can't taper really or show aggressiveness because he can say in 23, but if he says in 22, that could piss off the liberals. So it's going to be, maybe he'll say later 22, going into 23. That might be the safest thing I imagine he might say. Alrighties, it's time for Doc to jump over to the New York trading. So this is Doc from North America. Everybody have a safe and smart weekend, and we'll put a title out there. Ta-ta for now. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. See yous on Thursday, the day before TGIF.